Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Hello and welcome back to What's on Tap podcast, where we are still in the month of June bringing you Swedish drinks, I want to say.
And I have to say that I'm really impressed by the breadth and scope of Swedish beers. I mean, it's been lagers, it's been sours, it's been IPAs, just a lot of different varieties of beer, and they've all been really good. I mean, the Swedish beer scene is just alive and exciting and so vibrant. I think there's just so many amazing breweries in the country.
I agree. It's been a good month, actually. And I say drinks because we have one beer today and we have one... It's not a mead, it's a braggot, right?
Right, it's a braggot, which is an ale brewed with honey.
Yes. So in Swedish, we don't say braggot, we say mölska.
Yeah.
Do we start with that one?
Let's start with that one, I think. I think this is going to be the more controversial one of the beers.
So it's Narke Kulturbryggeri, who at one point were the most hyped brewery in Sweden with their Stormakts Porter, which was the bourbon barrel version was once the best beer in the world according to Rate Beer.
Yeah.
They're not the best brewery anymore, but this is the Utgard Vitmolska White Braggot. So it's a honey ale, 7.8% ABV, and I have no idea what to.
So this is made from honey from Asker and Narke.
Yes. So Asker is probably a town. I've never heard about it.
Okay.
So Örebro is the city where Narke is from.
Okay.
They are in the region of Narke. So Asker is probably some neighboring town or something. Okay. And they got the honey locally, which is always...
good.
Yeah, you always want to say, locally sourced ingredients.
And this comes in at 7.8%. It is a wheat braggot, which is a wheat honey ale. And it smells a lot like a Hefeweiss.
Yeah.
Like if you were just to give this to me and say, try this Hefeweiss, at first I would be like... Well, it doesn't really look like a Hefeweiss. It's way too light and not as yellow. As...
Some Hefes are this color.
True, but not a lot. Most of them, when I think of Hefe, I think of something much more yellow and
yes,
darkly colored. Yeah,
and then you would smell it and you go, yeah, that has the wheat, a little bit of
smells like
bit of foam banana candies. Yeah,
exactly, little lemon citrus notes to it. Very much so.
Want to try it?
Yeah, I do.
Cheers.
It's like a sweet wheat beer.
It's very sweet.
It's very sweet.
A little bit cloying, but kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think your love of this beer will largely revolve around how much you enjoy honey.
Yes.
Because, man, it's a big beer.
Yes.
Wow. Like the first sip, you're kind of like, that's just like a Hefeweizen wheat, you know. And then it settles, and you're kind of like, whoa, there's a lot of honey, and there's a lot of flower blossoms in there, and like herbal notes, and it's a really interesting beer. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. I brought it, but it's a bit too sweet for me.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how I should feel about it because it is. On the one hand, I think it's a pretty good beer. On the other hand, I don't know I really like it either.
An interesting side note about Narke is once upon a time they went on a public internet tirade how much they hated contract brewers and phantom brewers, calling them soulless profiteers that had no love for beer.
I think I remember this rant.
And some of our friends, like Nerd Brewing and stuff, they were phantom brewers, gypsy brewers, but no one should say gypsy anymore.
I mean, Omnipolo, McKellar,
But those are the examples that the criticism was actually aimed at.
That's who they were trying to...
The people who sent in a recipe to the Proof Brewery in Belgium and just got a beer. But they pulled they clumped everyone together. So even the small phantom brewers who couldn't afford their own brewery and were just shoveling malts with their sweat and blood and tears, they were clumped together as soulless profiteers. that was quite a big stir in the Swedish beer.
Well, I mean, if we know nothing about Nerd Brewing, soulless profiteer is the first thing that comes to mind.
No. we love Nerd Brewing.
No, they are anything but that. But this beer is...
It's not working for me.
It's a little all over the place. It's a little too kind of unfocused. It's just there's so much happening here, and none of it really. It feels like it's almost fighting itself.
Yes, it needs to be said that braggots and meads are. It's not a style that I hate.
No,
far from it. Some braggots and meads and Mulska and stuff that I've felt like they were more historic.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of meads. So when I first started drinking meads, I really hated mead. Like I was just like, I just do not want to drink mead because it was this historic, like really classic honey-based, just syrupy, so rich and just so cloying and like, oh, I can't handle this. And then, like, this whole new wave of meaderies came around, like Satapaya and...
making the candy meads.
Well, they're just making, like, meads that just taste interesting and exciting. And they're using things like chili peppers and they're adding, like, chocolate and chipotle and all of these different adjuncts. And they're making it so where it's not just a wine... carbonated wine, basically, with honey to something that was... complex and dynamic and something you really looked forward to and wanted to try again and again. Superstition, like, is an amazing meadery.
But they are the definition of candy meads.
Right, but they're also interesting and
I love them.
There's so much flavor.
I love them so much.
So it's not just like this honey-based sugar drink. Yeah. It's dynamic and rich and so many flavors and varieties and everything. And we've gotten a ton of Superstition meadery in Sweden recently.
That's because of the Malmö Mead Network. I don't know if it's called Malmö Mead Network. It's Malmö Meadery that have gone together with other mead makers to form a network where they can import meads into Sweden.
But they're bringing them in like usually a couple times a month. We're getting like 3 to 5 new Superstition meads. Yeah, they're all
very expensive.
Really expensive.
So expensive.
Yeah. So to put it in U.S. terms, they're ranging from $30 to $50.
No, $100.
$100. No, none of them have been that much.
Berry White was 1,000 Swedish kronor at Systembolaget.
Oof. That hurts.
Yes, it hurts, but Berry White is very difficult to come by.
It is really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not like meads go bad. I mean, since they're honey based, they're relatively shelf stable, and so you can open one, have a little bit, put the cork back on, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah, that might actually work.
Yeah, because they're not really carbonation based in the way that like beers are, where they're going to go flat or something. If it goes flat, it's like still good. You know? And they hold their flavor profiles relatively well.
Yes. But so yes, I agree. Candy meads are just awesome. I want to drink them all the time. Nothing else. Like they're just great. But I've had traditional meads that were just this sweet honey drink that I did enjoy quite a bit because they were a little bit subdued in they weren't that cloyingly sweet. The cloyingly sweet part was quite subdued, and they tasted like. You actually got the feeling like, This is probably what was put on tables in like the 17th century. No, wait, you say it differently, right? Like in 1543.
So that'd be the 16th century.
Yes, 1543. This might have been put on a table going, this we can drink. It has... All of the dirty water has now been made into drinkable braggot.
Yes.
And good times were had by all. And that was the feeling I got when drinking these drinks.
Yeah.
Like, it's not too much.
Very much a festival beer.
Yes.
Yes. Like braggot would be a festival beer.
Yes.
In the past.
Exactly. But this one, I'm not getting that same thing.
No, I am not a huge fan of this. In fact, I'm going to give it, I think, a 3.
I was thinking about a 3. Then I thought, Stefan is going to give this a 2.5. I should give it a 2.75. I'm giving it a 3 as well. I'm undecided. It's so difficult to rate this one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't hate it. I could not drink this half-liter bottle by myself. It would just be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And again, I think it smells really nice. I think the flavor profile okay, but it's also just kind of a messy beer.
Yeah, it smells way better than it tastes.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll be back after these messages.
Yes.
The Mulberry Boys, every Friday night. On the show, you better know they keep it tight. ETL is back and the J-Strom's in the zone. Introduce the co-host, he doesn't do it alone. PCZ is about to hold court. You know he's on the headset, you can hear him snort. Pop culture, movies, TV shows, and games. Rotten Tomatoes, reviews, news, and Blu-rays. Foggy don't play around, he will bust a drop fast. Welcome to the Entertainment Landfill Podcast, the Jason and Steven Show. It's the Jason and Steven Show. What? The Jason and Steven Show. It's the Jason and Steven Show.
Have you ever wondered what so-called family films will scar your kids forever?
Putting 4 and 5-year-olds in front of this movie, it's like, if they didn't know what death was before this, they're going to know it after it.
They're going to know it after it, and they're going to be freaking terrified.
And they're going to be questioning you.
Yeah.
Or do you have the slight suspicion that your loved one has a cold, dead heart?
Yeah, the Dark Knight has got like all the orphans and like, oh no, we're going to die. They did not build up those orphans at all. In my head, it's like, kill them.
Then look no further. The His Film Her Movie podcast is the show for you. It's the movie podcast that celebrates the contrasting cinematic tastes of its hosts. So join Jordan and Lauren every week on their unique journey through the land of the silver screen. So if you're looking for a few laughs, some fun film-related chat, then get involved. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, Martin. So what's the next beer that we have today?
The next beer I brought is Akia Simekumos. It's not a word. I googled
Simekumos.
it. Simekumos. It's not a word. So Akia, they're from Kungsbacka in the region of Halland.
Yep.
So quite close to. That doesn't matter. I don't know where Kungsbacka is. I have no idea.
Kungsbacka is...
you pass it, right? Going to like Gothenburg. You pass Kungsbacka.
No.
You don't?
Isn't Kungsbacka... Where is it again? Which part of the country?
Halland. So it's... it should be near Halmstad.
Yeah. I don't know.
We have no idea.
I'm thinking of somewhere else.
But it's a double IPA, clocking in at 8.5%. I would say it's a New England double IPA.
I think they're going for a New England double IPA with this for sure. Because this is, this is just hazy and it smells very New Englandy with the fresh hops. And
it does.
It's a pretty beer. I think it looks nice. It isn't something I think that would stand out on the shelves if I saw it, because I like the packaging and honestly, I kind of like Akia. I think I've enjoyed quite a few.
We've had some Akia on this show. I remember me bringing the Praline Imperial Stout. That might have been a long time ago now. Time flies when you're drinking beers with you.
It does. But I've enjoyed their beers in the past, and I think this also is going to be quite enjoyable.
Yeah, so when I planned for beers to bring to this drinking episode, I had this beer, I checked it out, and you had no rating on it. So I was like, yes, I get to bring a New England double IPA to share with Stefan. But just before we started recording, I hear that you might have had this, but secretly not checked it in.
You don't have to, show how the pudding's made. You could have just been like...
No.
We had this beer, and we're both very excited for it, because that's what I was going for. And you were just like, no. This prick's had it already.
I'm pulling down the curtains. I'm exposing the Wizard of Oz.
Well, all I'm saying is I enjoyed it the first time. We haven't reviewed it on the show yet, so I think it's worth... visiting
that makes me
on the episode.
That makes me happy. I was just thrown back by this reveal.
Yeah, it smells so good. I love the smell of this one.
It's very dank.
It is super dank.
It smells a little bit like weed. Of course, when weed people pass you on the street and you feel this sweet cloying aroma, that's of course what I'm referring to.
Yes, you call it the nectar of the gods, I believe.
Personally?
Yeah. You were like. 420 all the time.
Yeah.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. It was very dank. Yeah, sure. It's tasty.
It's very tasty. This falls right along with that level of it's good. A lot of these beers, I don't think this beer doesn't differentiates itself from other beers of the style. It's a really good beer. I really enjoy it. I'm super glad to have it again. And when you showed it to me, I was just like, yes, this was so good. I enjoyed it the first time. Quite enjoyed it. Is it memorable?
No.
Is it? It's in that caliber of these juicy New England IPAs that, while tasty, don't really differentiate themselves from the pack. No. They're just part of the herd.
It's become a very difficult style for the exact reasons you're bringing up. So when we're drinking Wylam's versions of this style, we usually have more to talk about. We go there's these notes of citra, and it has this rich creaminess because Wylam's stick out.
Yeah, because they have some sort of magic powder or whatever they put into their beers that just make them some of them are just very few of the New England IPAs I've given 5 to. They've been Wylam's because they've just made these beers that just kind of wow, this beer has everything. It's juicy, it's fruity, it's rich, it's so drinkable. It hides the ABV so completely well. I mean, and this beer, it's not boozy. It hides the ABV, 8.5%. It's super drinkable.
The hoppiness is slightly abrasive towards the tongue.
Yeah.
Like they usually are.
So, it sparkles. Yeah. It's, but at the same time, I'm like, if I saw it on the shelf, would I buy it again? Sure. Because it's a very drinkable beer. It's a very easy beer to enjoy and drink and have again. Like I said, having it the second time, enjoying it just as much as the first time. But I'm not excited about it either.
No. I'm gonna, when it comes to ratings, I'm in between 2 ratings, and I think I'm gonna choose intellectually to raise it to the higher one.
All right.
So I'm going to give it a week 4.
Oh, really?
Where it might deserve a 3.75.
Yeah.
But I'm trying actively, intellectually to figure out yes, it doesn't stand out, but right now, here in this moment, it's good.
It is good. I'm giving it a 3.75.
Yeah, exactly.
Only because I think that there's a lot of flaws in the beer. I think that it's a little imbalanced. The carbonation is a little off.
With unbalanced, I might agree, but carbonation, I think, is right where it should be. I don't know what Do you want more carbonation?
I think I want a little bit more carbonation. I think the aftertaste is a little weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of almost like a unbalanced sourness, like a very, very slight sourness to it. Yeah, again, it's a very good beer, and if I was just to like sit and drink it, like right now I'm overanalyzing it. I'm really being very clued in and very oversensitive to all of these little technicalities to it. I think 375 is a very admirable review for this beer. And
Yes.
I enjoy it. If someone was to like pull out another can later, I would be like, let's do this. It's good beer.
Yeah,
I'll easily drink it any time.
Oh, you're convincing me to lower my rating because it's such a... My rating is standing on such thin ice. Rating beers for me is part... obviously, it's a big part flavor and taste. But it's also emotional, intellectual, nostalgic. It has all of these different aspects. And emotionally, this beer does nothing for me.
No, of course not. It should never do anything emotionally for you. Unless you're like trying a double IPA for the first time and you're kind of like, wow, I didn't know beer could be like this. And then you're kind of like, this is what I'm judging every other beer against because this is my first one I've had. This is not a...
It's not that, yeah. Yeah, you've convinced me. It's a 3.75 and it's not a bad rating.
No.
That's just what it is.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you sound so down for having a beer that's 3.75.
No. I hate lowering scores.
I understand.
I really do. It's the same when I have a beer that I've liked in the past and I need to give it a lower rating because that's what it objectively is now. Yeah. It feels sad because I've left some part of my life where I enjoyed that particular beer or everything more in general. I don't... how can you know these things? I don't want to become a cynic that dislikes everything.
I don't think you're a cynic that dislikes everything, but I just think like as you try more of a particular style or you become more discerning in your taste.
I don't want to be that way.
You like learn to be like, it's like, yeah, that was really good when I didn't have anything else to compare it against. But now that I've had other versions of this beer to compare it against, I see that it's, while not bad, it is lacking in certain characteristics.
Yeah. And also, so we're I said that this beer was like dank and kind of like weed.
Yeah.
You and I recently drank beers together with Marcus, who has the home brewery Frosty Beard Brewing.
Yeah.
And he treated us to a beer that was the dankiest, weediest, freshest, greenest IPA.
And then we totally smoked out too, so that also helped.
I don't remember that.
Of course you don't. You were so blazed.
No, but his beer, it was the most of that category.
Yeah.
So I still have that fresh in my memory. And having that said, this one is not even close to that.
No, it's not.
Because that beer was just insane.
It was.
He even said, "Oh, we shouldn't drink it now. We should drink it in a week or two."
It was so good. I actually remember, like, I think I'd drink the rest of the bottle.
I think
it was like so good. It was excellent. It was one of the best beers of the night, honestly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up here. You can find us online at what'sontappodcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube.
Old World War I telegraph stations.
Yes. That's mostly where we're finding is someone typing out everything that we say.
Yes. Poor people.
It takes 5 hours for them to do it, but well worth the effort.
Yes.
So until next time.
Keep drinking it, dum-dums.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.